Hi, my name is Shannon, and for today's video, I'm gonna do things that annoy me. And it's not gonna be just like the simple rinky-dinky things, like liars and like people chewing, stuff like that. Number one would be remotes with too many buttons. Who needs this many remotes? It's TV. Number two would be cracking bones. When people can crack their nose, their neck, the face, the body, no. The only thing I can crack is my toes, and if I get up really early in the morning, they just creak, 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 creak. Number three would be crowds of people. But like when people just stand in the middle of an already small area, they're just chit-chatting, they know where they're at, like a mall, and they just don't move at all. And they're just like, as people are like, ah! Number five would be movie series. I know that sounds really weird because my two favorite movies are Pirates of the Caribbean and Hobbit, but I feel like after the three should be done. Number six would be when you're trying to have a conversation with someone and then you realize you have the same thing in common. When that person consistently just talks about that one thing because that's the only thing y'all have in common and it just never stops. It's like, we have so much more in common. Let's talk about something different. Another talky one would be when someone says there's nothing to talk about. There's a much things as to talk about. Grammar, Did that make sense? Another one would be when someone asks like, what's up, how you doing? They go to ask you the question and then you go to answer it and they interrupt you.
How was your day?
Oh, my day? It was a little stressful.
Oh, let me tell you, it was so hot.
When you're talking to someone and they go to tell you a story, but they're smoking, and every couple of words they take just like a huge puff of a cigarette, making their stories extremely long. Tell me the story, smoke a cigarette, let's move on. Pants shopping. I cannot express enough how hard it is to pants shop. How can I be one size at one store and then be the same size but that size is too smaller or bigger? What? Another one would be having to sit still. I'm a very fidgety person. I'm constantly moving around or fidgeting. I shake or I rock. Normally, that's just a normal thing I've always done. That's not the time to be like swaying back and forth while your boss, your potential boss is like, so what's your background? And you're just like, well, yeah, you really can't be taken seriously, and I hate having to sit still, but sometimes you gotta do it. Number 14. This one I can't stand because it's extremely rude. And I was raised to give everyone respect, to give everyone a chance, and to always have manners. And when someone shushes me, all of that niceness just goes out the window. Don't shush me. Number 15, writer's block, artist block, anything block. Anything that just blocks you and your imagination, your creativity, especially when you need it the most. It's the most destroying thing, like self-destroying. Number 16 would be labeling people. When people put labels on other people or when people put labels on themselves. There is no such, you are not one thing. When I was in high school, I would be considered like the rocker chick, especially where I went to high school because I was a little bit different than everyone else. I wore a band shirt. I still wear band shirts like 2 years later. I wore band shirts. I always had my hair down and like messy and poofy, and I still do that now. And I don't really like dress up, but when someone says, oh, I'm just the rocker chick, or I just listen to a certain type of music or genre of music, that's almost putting me in like a little box. I try not to do that to anyone else, and I try to influence the people around me to not label people because no one's just one thing. When fitting rooms don't have doors, but they have curtains. I just went to the store recently. I've never came across a door curtain for a fitting room of a store. And I went into the fitting room and I was like, what's going on? And it was curtains, like split curtains. All right, I'm gonna go to the dressing room. What is this? This is not a door. How do you want me to change in this? This one I'm pretty sure anyone can relate to is when you're listening to a really good song in your headphones, but you can't like fully enjoy it because you're in public. You obviously can't be like headbanging in Walmart. Well, you could, it's Walmart. But you obviously can't be like rocking out to your favorite song because, actually I don't know why. Hey, you know, you rock out in that store or in public or, you know, you do you. So this one is just, you know. Another thing that annoys me is the sound of flip-flops. When they shuffle, like when people just, they don't pick their feet up right away, like every single time. And then like they don't hear them themselves. This one might be a little weird, but when you're involuntarily being stuck with a baby, I don't feel completely comfortable with babies. It's pretty self-explanatory, and I'm just like, what do I do? Another thing that annoys me and is also extremely rude is when there's a whole bunch of people talking and you feel the need to turn up the volume of the music you're listening to or the video you're watching. Another thing that bothers me is movie theaters. I used to love movie theaters when I was little, but I also wasn't paying for them. Now that I'm a young adult, I hate the movie theaters and their prices. Come on now, lower your prices. Another thing that annoys me is when people say they hate a certain music genre. How can you hate one genre of music if in that genre there's like billions and millions of artists and music and sounds and all that crazy stuff, you know? The last thing is when things don't come to an end. Like when someone is trying to talk to you but they're very extended.
You know.
I'm like, what? What?
You know what time it is?
And it's like, oh my god. You know Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, how he has to have an end to everything? This stresses me out when people don't finish what they're trying to say.